From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
We're starting things off with our Divine Restaurant Sky Cam here overlooking Redding, and a couple of clouds here and there, but mainly blue skies here as we go through the second half of the afternoon and the evening hours. A little bit on the breezy side, as we'd expect typically this time of the year. Take a look at our Shasta Lake Sky Cam, sponsored by Elwood Ranch. It's the Jones Valley Resort, and you can see it looks like we've got the clear skies out there, a little bit of a breeze out on the lake this afternoon. Let's go and take a look now at Lake Shastina Golf Resort Sky Cam, sponsored by Elwood Ranch. Plenty of sunshine out in Siskiyou County. And we're seeing a few clouds that we've seen kind of pass through parts of the north coast. Now, some areas are seeing clearing, whereas other areas along the coast, we're actually seeing some cloud cover and that marine layer begin to move back in. You can kind of see that, especially for northern Humboldt County, but a lot of the south-facing beaches do have the clear skies there. I do expect more of that marine layer to come in for all of the coast later on tonight and into tomorrow morning. All right, let's get into your Krueger's Quick Cast for your Thursday, August 27th. All right, so for tonight, I think we'll see temperatures drop down into the mid-60s for the valley, generally 50s for the higher elevations and for the coast. And out the door tomorrow morning, there's going to be some cloud cover out there. And I think most of the clouds will be south and east of the valley. And of course, we'll see that fog and some drizzle along the coast. Now tonight, don't forget, there is a partial lunar eclipse. Pretty close. 96% of the moon will be eclipsed by the shadow of the Earth. And it will peak. The max eclipse will be, with that 96%, will be at 9:13 tonight. And it should start about 7:33. So the question is, will it be completely clear for the eclipse? And I'm thinking probably not. You can see the clouds coming in from that subtropical moisture that's coming in from the south. I think at the very least we're going to see some mid and high level clouds out there. I think partially some areas may see that eclipse get covered up a little bit, but I do think most of us should be able to see most of that eclipse here throughout the evening into tonight. All right, let's take a look at our chances for rain. This is something I've been talking about over the last few days. Forecast models have been a little bit all over the place, really, as far as the northern extent and western extent of the rain. You see that angle of where the line cuts itself off. That's been shifting north and southward here over the last few days. So tomorrow morning, based on the HRRR forecast model, we may see a few sprinkles out towards the Chico, Oroville area, basically in Glen and Butte counties, and then working its way eastward into Plumas and Lassen counties, and of course southward into the Sacramento region. We take you through the rest of the morning, and most of it shifts off to the east by midday, and then maybe an afternoon thunderstorm for parts of Modoc County. Now, be sure to stay tuned for our deeper dive forecast. We're going to compare this model to that of our in-house forecast model and see how they differ and where they agree in some aspects as well. So for tomorrow, what I've got is partly to mostly cloudy skies in the valley. More clouds the farther south you go, less cloud cover the farther north you go. I've got some lightning strikes in there for Plumas, Lassen counties, and even parts of Modoc County as well. But I do think everywhere west of that, for the most part, we'll be looking at dry conditions. So looking at your 7-day outlook, it's going to be cooler. Low 90s for the valley through Sunday. And I have included that slight chance for Chico to maybe see a sprinkle, especially in the morning. Then on Monday, look at this. Temperatures dropping down to the mid-80s and even cooler by Tuesday of next week. So significantly cooler weather in the forecast by next week. For the coast, also seeing cooler weather back in the upper 50s by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Inland, you're looking at temperatures in the 80s. Weaverville, Trinity County, also in the 80s by early next week, and dry for the next 7 days. We take a look at Siskiyou County, you're back down into the mid-70s by Tuesday, Wednesday, but still dry. I have included a chance for showers and thunderstorms for Alturas, parts of Modoc County, and parts of the eastern mountains as well. But once we get into the weekend, it dries out, and we start to cool things off as well. Let's take a look at that fire weather outlook. The first thing we're going to take a look at is the Storm Prediction Center. The valley, part of this elevated fire weather risk? Well, there's a reason for that. I want to show you the winds. And this is something I've actually been talking about over the last few days, and they've really started to ramp up based on the latest model data. So where you see some of those deeper reds in there, that's getting in the 40 to close to 50 mile an hour range. Now, yes, the humidity levels may be up just a tad, but when we have a lot of available moisture, fuels that is, and we've got winds that strong, if a new fire starts, it can spread rapidly under those conditions. Now we take you into your Saturday, winds actually dying down for the most part across the board, and that's going to be the case through the weekend. So that should decrease our fire weather risk or lower it. So taking a look at the fire weather risk along with our humidity, take a look at Friday. You see how we're in the we're no longer in the single digits, and we're in the teens and even some lower 20s. See how it's a little bit higher humidity for places like Willows and Chico, because again, that tropical moisture coming in from the south is working its way northward. The farther south you go, the higher the humidity will be. But bottom line, we have high to very high fire weather risk in parts of the valley. But by Saturday, as those winds die down, we are going to lower that fire weather risk to low to moderate, but still looking at drier conditions across the board. Let's get into your deeper dive forecast for your Thursday, August 27th. We're taking a look at our weather headlines, and yeah, the temperatures are starting to drop, and we're going to notice that. We're going to notice it over the weekend. We're going to notice it even more so by early next week. But a chance for some mountain showers, thunderstorms on Friday. Now, as it stands right now, and we're going to go into that a little bit more when we look at future casts, but as it stands right now, it looks like the bulk of the activity will be in Lassen, Plumas counties, and maybe kind of extending as far northward as, say, the Chico area with a few sprinkles here and there. But even for the mountains, Lassen, Plumas counties, it's probably not going to be a lot. And as I mentioned, I do expect even cooler weather, low to mid 80s for the valley by early next week. So look at this. This has really worked its way northward, and we got a lot of cloud cover over central Southern California. Even some showers have worked their way in as well. Now, you can see the overall kind of movement is kind of to the north and east, but I do think that the progression of the cloud cover will move due north. And this is why I'm a little concerned that as we do go into the evening and overnight hours, that a lot of that cloud cover will be moving in, and that may block the eclipse for some of us. All right, so let's talk about that moisture source. You see that tropical moisture working in. Now, this is something I've been tracking and monitoring over the last few days, and really overall it's been fairly consistent. Kind of the main bullseye of the heaviest amount of available moisture or moisture content is over the Sacramento region, and you can see it does kind of extend right around Chico. All right, and then it cuts off. You see much drier air, as you can see, to the north and west. Basically where most of Northern California, where most of NorCal is, or the North State, right? But then as we go into Friday night through the day on Saturday, we start to see the drier air begin to move in. So this is going to be not a very long system that pushes through. So let's take a look at the European forecast model. Now, really, for the first time today, the European forecast model is getting a lot less aggressive with any rainfall for the North State. Last few days, it has been including it in Lassen, Plumas counties, and even close to Chico as well. But now it's keeping it mainly over the Sierra and the Sacramento region. Then that moves on out. We could see some afternoon thunderstorms developing along the spine of the Sierra, but that's about it with that leftover moisture. Then we dry things out. But look at this. Latest models now take this fairly aggressive area of low pressure, cooler air. Next Tuesday, maybe a chance for some showers that may clip northwestern California, and then again maybe next Wednesday, Thursday of next week. Now, as of right now, I'm not setting this in stone when we look at the 7-day forecast, but if I see more consistency as I maybe wake up tomorrow morning and still see that in there, I may include, especially for the North Coast, a chance for showers again as early as next Tuesday and maybe even into Wednesday, Thursday of next week. All right, now let's take a look at what we expect here as we take into the next 24 hours or so. So we looked at this earlier. Let's take a look at it, just kind of a refresher. So you can see that the main line that cuts off is around Chico to the northwest of dry conditions. Now, what I do want to mention is that even though it's showing rain here, typically what you have is this, the rain is up here, right? We're down here at the surface. It's very dry. It's been very dry. So that rain falls from here, it works its way down, and it tends to evaporate before reaching the ground. So very dry at the surface, and the moisture is in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Now that doesn't mean that we may not see a sprinkle. You could see maybe a sprinkle for your morning commute around the Chico area. But I do think the better chances for some of that rain, any accumulating rain, only a few hundredths by the way, will be around, say, the mountains east of the valley, which would include Plumas and Lassen counties. But I mean, even this model is keeping it to the south of places like Modoc County and the bulk of it down to the south as well. Then we go into midday. It's still mainly off to the east here, and then maybe an afternoon thunderstorm developing in parts of southeastern Modoc County. Again, based on the HRRR forecast model. It's a little different when we look at our in-house model. And then, of course, it's all gone by Saturday. All right, now let's take a look at our in-house model and see where they differ. So again, we go into tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. You see where it all is? Mainly to the south and east, not very aggressive, maybe out towards Lassen and Plumas counties, right? But look at Chico. Any rain is pretty far. Now, that's the thing, though. It's showing a second surge of moisture and a more impressive surge of moisture coming in around midday for the Sacramento region, and you see how it just clips Chico. So sometime within the morning hours to around midday, there is a chance you could see a stray sprinkle in parts of Chico, maybe even into Glenn County as well, say around Willows, for example. You may see some of that activity, okay? And then, of course, it's mainly over the Sierra into the Tahoe region. Then we go through the afternoon to the evening. Yes, it kind of tries to work its way through Lassen and Plumas counties, but you see how it's not really showing anything for Modoc County? So again, we're still seeing some discrepancies in our short-range forecast models, but I would say that the best chances will be, say, southeastern Modoc, Lassen, Plumas, really, and then as you start heading westward, those chances do begin to diminish. So by Saturday, we're completely dry, and we're also looking at dry conditions as we take you through the day on Sunday as well. All right, now we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about those temperatures, right? So we've got the ridge of high pressure to our south and east, this cooler air riding over that ridge, pushing the heat to the south and east. As a result, temperatures dropping down into the low 90s for the valley for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As that moves out, we've got another cooler pocket of air and stronger area of low pressure right here. This is actually pretty impressive for late August, early September, right? We're looking at Wednesday, September 2nd. This is a pretty tightly wound area of low pressure. It's going to pack some winds along with it, and as we saw earlier, maybe even a little bit of rainfall for parts of northwestern California for the middle, give or take, part of next week, right? And then through Sunday, that next weekend, that area of low pressure kind of sticks around. That prevents this heat from moving in and even this bubble of heat from moving in, keeping our temperatures down. Now, we are seeing a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Temperatures low 90s for Friday through the weekend. Then we dip down in the low 80s by Tuesday. That's the peak of the cooling trend. And then just slowly ticking upward, but still in the low 90s through the end of next week into that next weekend. The average high is 97, so we'll still be well below that in the low 90s. And look at this. I mean, this is really looking promising for the first week in September. Climate Prediction Center is still putting us in that below normal category and a very good chance of seeing that. So we look at our neighborhood forecast sponsored by Dignity Health and Grange Co-op, and what we'll see here for Trinity County and really for everyone is that downward trend in the temperatures. We're going to pretty much stay in the upper 80s about 90 through Sunday, and then there you can see, especially by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, low to mid 80s. We take it to the North Coast, also a downward trend in those temperatures. Now, keep in mind, I've got my eyes on Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday of next week, maybe some rain in there. I'm going to set that in stone if I see more consistency in the models here as we wake up tomorrow morning. 89 for Orleans, 86 in Hoopa, Willow Creek, and even the inland areas, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, may get to see some rain if, indeed, what we're seeing in the long range holds true. Now, we take a look at Siskiyou County. You've got temperatures in the 80s and 90s there, 93 for Wairika, 91 for Gazelle, but Mount Shasta City, about 84. So you can see a dip in the temperatures on Saturday and then kind of going up and down a little bit here, but really next week, mid to upper 70s for your daytime highs. Yeah, feeling really good. Kind of an early taste of fall, really. Taking a look at Alturas, I have included a chance for thunderstorms. Now, again, if we see any, I think it'll be mainly, say, Alturas to the south and east. And Alturas is kind of the very end of the fringe of where we may see some of that. All right, now we take you out to the eastern mountains. Let's say Susanville, southeastward. that's where we've got the best chance for some of those thunderstorms. As you start heading west of that, I mean, we're going to have a harder time in places like Bernie, Viola, and Mineral, even Paradise. But Paradise is kind of within that slight chance for at least a stray sprinkle or light shower. Now, for the valley, I've included that chance in there for Oroville. I've included the chance for Chico. What does that mean? Well, don't cancel outdoor plans. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, especially for the first half of the day. Could you see a stray sprinkle? Yes. Is it anything to get excited about? Not even close. All right, so let's take a look at our valley neighborhood forecast in the north. 92 degrees for Redding, 91 degrees for Red Bluff. We look at that 7-day forecast for Redding. I don't have the chance for rain for you because I think any chances for rain are going to be too far to the south. Low 90s through Sunday, upper 80s on Monday, and then low 80s on Tuesday, slowly and gradually increasing as we take you through next week. I'll be back again tomorrow morning for your morning update and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have a good night.
When you see flashing lights, someone's life depends on us.
And while we're out helping crash victims, we need your help to keep us safe. Move over, slow down, it's the law, it protects everyone.
Our crews are out here every day, keeping the roads safe for you and your family.
We're often the last ones on scene, and we want to make it home safe too.
Protect those who protect you, slow down and move over.